Well, as you know by now, John Harbaugh has signed a deal to become the new head coach of the New York Giants, as we told you that it likely was going to end up. And the details of what took so long to finalize the process, we've got for you, and what John Harbaugh told the ownership group of the Giants. We got that, and is the topic today. A reminder: um, hit the subscribe button. It's free. We appreciate you joining us, and we appreciate you spreading the word and helping other people find us. So again, the Giants had finally got a deal done with John Harbaugh. Been working on it for about a week. They aggressively pursued him. This is what ownership wanted. As you know by now, Brian Daboll was fired a while back, and Joe Schoen, the general manager, was retained. I have discussed before, why are general managers often retained? I think foolishly, just like Brandon Beane in Buffalo and firing the head coach Sean McDermott. You're often firing the wrong guy. But firing cycles for general managers usually come after the draft. Sometimes when they clean house, often I should say when they clean house, they fire the GM after the season as well. So I shouldn't phrase it like that. But the contracts for the general managers run through the draft, not the end of the season like coaches do. And there's often a fear that, from an owner standpoint, that if I let my GM go, and who is going to run this draft, and am I going to be able to get somebody to run the draft, and get a head coach that's going to have to run the draft? Do I really want that? Can I get somebody from another team? Are they going to be allowed to go? They get a little scared. They also have the owner. The owner does have the general manager chirping in their ear more than the head coach does. And so usually when there's a one or the other, it's usually the coach that gets the axe. John Harbaugh, working with the Baltimore Ravens, had developed enough clout to answer directly to owner Steve Bisciotti. Yeah, there's a general manager there, but John pretty much ran the organization from a football standpoint. When he, with his leverage, went and began to talk to folks about jobs, there was some thought that he would maybe go someplace where he could be GM. John is not interested in the GM title. He's just not going to have a GM dictate his future, like in some of these other cases that I've mentioned have taken place. Joe Schoen has been retained with the Giants again, and he told the Giants, John Mara, the owner, if this is going to work, I answer directly to you and no one else. I understand working with other people, but I answer to you. That, and John has not doing that as a power play, but as a matter of structure that is important to him. That's come out publicly. John says it's no big deal. John Harbaugh says it's no big deal. But it is, and let me tell you why. The Giants have never done it that way. They've always done the owner, general manager hire the coach, and that's the line of direction. Maybe forced into really getting the guy that they wanted and forced to do how he wanted it. This is the structure that they're working under. That's what he wanted. Harbaugh is the most important cog in the process of anything to do with football with the New York Giants. I've known Chris Mara for years. He's the son of John Mara, the owner. He's a senior player personnel executive and grew up around the game with his dad and his grandfather. Collaboration is going to be key like it is in any organization. Nobody does everything. But making sure that the head coach has the direction of the team responds to him, The buck ends with him. It's what is essential to win. This was made clear. In no way is this a job that appeals to me if I've got to do it any other way. This is why I thought maybe John would consider a situation like Atlanta, because they didn't have a general manager. Well, they hired Matt Ryan, who's a good young guy, and he's going to be somebody that the owner can lean on. He's got a president title. Well, John's not answering to a president, a former player, a general manager. He is going to work with them, and he does not have a huge ego, I can tell you. But he does understand that if you don't have the direct line communication, then you're going to be in trouble, and you're open to somebody. Look, coaches talk. Coaches are aware of situations, and those of us that are in the football business know that. Guys like Joe Schoen and even like Brandon Beane are the biggest reasons why the Giants and the Bills have fallen short, because to me, I think the Ravens team is played well, in many cases overachieved this year. I don't think their roster was very much overrated. Definitely the Giants roster is not very good. The Bills roster is overrated. So I think it's important to understand that. If you look at Joe Schoen, despite Harbaugh's contract explicitly stating that Schoen isn't really his boss, it's just something on a piece of paper, is what Schoen says. Doesn't matter. It's a big issue, and it was cleared up in that interview very, very quickly. And general managers who have the direct report, John Harbaugh doesn't direct report to the general manager, and it is going to be one of those things, in my view, where if it comes down to issues, John Harbaugh will get the final say. John Harbaugh will get the nod. And Joe Schoen will get the boot if things don't get better around it. John Harbaugh is very underrated for the personnel moves that they've made. He is a very good personnel evaluator, and he worked very well with Ozzie Newsome. And he answered to Bisciotti, and he and Ozzie were just back to back. Now, the Eric DaCosta kid is not a good evaluator and is not a real heavy lifter there, but he's got the ear of the owner, but it never was a problem for John either. But to the end, when things didn't go well, and then it became an issue. So this move is about making sure that doesn't happen again, and we'll see. John's going to be one of the highest paid head coaches. Joe Schoen has a 22-45 record as a GM. This matters. This is a big deal. Joe Schoen, general manager of the Giants, you work with John Harbaugh. He doesn't work for you. That was the mission and the message, and why the Giants were able to lure him away. Appreciate you joining us. Talk to you again next time, but spread the word if you would. Like, share, and hit that subscribe button and keep this podcast free. Have a great one, everybody.